Joined by International Relations Minister Naledi Pandor. Thank you so much for your time, Minister. I guess many would say a lifelong lived, 96 years old, but many would say it's really the end of an era. Your response to the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Sorry, Minister, we cannot hear you. I'm not sure if you're on mute.
Good evening once more, Heidi, and good evening to the viewers of the eNCA. I'd like to thank you on behalf of government for this opportunity to briefly pay tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and to express the deepest and sincere condolences of the government and I'm sure the people of South Africa, many of whom have a strong attachment to both the United Kingdom as well as to the Queen and the work she has lived doing over seven decades of commitment and service to the Commonwealth, of which we're a member, and to Great Britain.
I want to speak about the important relationship that South Africa had with the UK and with Queen Elizabeth II. That very important relationship, which I'm sure you can speak about.
Well, I think there are many strands to it. As I've said, the Queen serves as the head of the Commonwealth and has always been very committed to the Commonwealth. I recall as an MP in the early years of our democracy, attending a Commonwealth Parliamentary Association meeting hosted by the United Kingdom Parliament. And the Queen came to address the meeting, and wherever a meeting of the parliamentarians took place, she would ensure either that she's present or that a message is delivered by a member of the royal family on her behalf. So certainly strong links through the Commonwealth, strong links through having visited our country on several visits, both leisure as well as state visits. I think memorable images of her with President Nelson Mandela in the early years of his assumption of office as the first president of a democratic South Africa, and then subsequently you had the visit where President Mbeki was in office. So very strong links between South Africa and Great Britain, and particularly the United Kingdom. It remains a very strong and leading trading partner for our country. There are many South Africans who hold citizenship in the United Kingdom. We also are one of the nations with a very large presence of South African citizens living in the United Kingdom. And of course, we have the iconic South African High Commission located right in the middle of Trafalgar Square in London. So strong links. Our leader of the African National Congress, President Oliver Tambo, lived in the UK for many years and was hosted and loved by members of the anti-apartheid and very broadly by the Society of the United Kingdom. So, it's just indelible links. And of course, there are former colonizer as well. We shouldn't forget that. But I think the Queen, a wonderfully remarkable person who led well, who served well, and I believe who was loved by many.
It's interesting that you touch on the fact that they were a former colonizer, and as tragic as it is, you are getting a response on social media and from many people about the fact that the UK colonized many countries on the African continent, and the fact that this was the longest reigning monarch. She was the longest reigning monarch. Speak to us about the negative side of this and how people might perceive this as an end of an era because of what happened on the African continent with UK colonizing a number of African countries.
Well, yes, we have that history, and I believe that it's a history that we cannot forget, that we do acknowledge both in our interactions with the United Kingdom as having been one of the imperialist countries, many others in the West. So this is true, but we've also built very strong bonds following the achievement of our freedom. And as you know, one of the largest branches of support in the anti-apartheid struggle was hosted in the United Kingdom. So there was massive support for our struggle for freedom. And I think while one can't neglect to attach some blame, it was the government in Parliament that really, I think, was the sop for the apartheid state. You'll recall some of the actions of Margaret Thatcher, for example, who was very different from the Labour governments, particularly Callaghan and Harold Wilson. They tended toward the left, toward progressive support for the anti-apartheid struggle. Margaret Thatcher was rather ambivalent and sometimes ambiguous, and even condescending when referring to Mr. Mandela while he was in Robben Island, and in fact coined the terrorist label referring to him. So yes, there are bad parts, there are good parts, but at this moment, when we sympathize with the people of the United Kingdom, we speak of the long period of service, we speak of the good.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to interject you.
I'm
so sorry to interject you, Minister, but we do understand that the newly elected Prime Minister is currently speaking.